morning, ladies and gentlemen. We will be beginning our meeting shortly. We are just waiting Councilwoman Hahn and Councilman Huizar. As soon as one of them is here, we'll have a quorum and we will begin. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Los Angeles City Council meeting. Today is July 7th, 2006, and we are in Van Nuys City Hall, as is customary on the first Friday of the month, where we come here in San Fernando Valley to bring this meeting closer to the residents of the San Fernando Valley. It's an open meeting, as all of our meetings are, each Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday on 10 a.m. when we have regularly scheduled meetings, except for this first Friday of the month when we come to Van Nuys City Hall. We are being broadcast live on Channel 35, LA City View, and rebroadcast in the evening. We are also webcast through our city's homepage at lacity.org, where you can get streaming video of the council proceedings, and you lastly can also call through council phone, which is at 213-621-CITY, and listen to the proceedings of the City Council or any of our council committees. We invite public comment here at Van Nuys City Hall via remote usually, where we can listen to you at City Hall or vice versa. Today we are able to listen to City Hall public comment here in Van Nuys. And of course, you're always welcome to come directly to the meetings to give us general public comment or to comment on items that have been agendized and noticed for public comment as well. We have a quorum now, so Madam Clerk, if you will please call the roll.
Cardenas, Gruhl, Hahn, Huizar, Labange, Padilla, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Wesson moves and Mr. Weiss seconds. If there's no objection, that'll be unanimously approved.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Zine moves and Ms. Gruhl seconds. If there's no objection, those two will be unanimously approved.
Mr. President, do you wish to take up public comment at this time or go
Let's
through
run through the agenda first, and then we'll come back to public comment. First items, please.
Before beginning the regular agenda, there is a request to continue item number 12 to Wednesday, and the new date would be, item number 16, and the
16th.
new date would be July the 12th.
Okay, is there any objection, colleagues, to continuing item 16 to the 12th of July? If not, so ordered. Next items.
First items on the agenda are items for which public hearings have been held, items 1 through 5.
Okay, there's a motion required on items 1 and 2, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. Anybody wishing to make motions on 1 and 2? I believe those are both budget and finance
Yes, they are.
items. Mr. Parks, would you like to move those two? Yes? Okay, Mr. Parks moves 1 and 2. And anybody wishing to call any of those special? If not, let's take up the balance, or all of those items. Please tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
Next items, Mr. President, are items for which public hearings have not been held, items 6 through 24. 10 votes are required for consideration. And on item number 6, that is an ordinance that is presented today and will go over for 30 days. And also on item number 7, I believe there's a substitute motion. And on item number 20, there's a correction that needs to be made. The motion is correct, but the agenda should reflect that it should be the city clerk requesting authorization.
Okay, let's make that correction. Any specials, colleagues?
Madam Clerk, you didn't call 5. You passed over 5.
We did it in
No,
one
1
shot.
through, I thought it was 1 through 4. Oh,
was 1 through
I'd like
5.
to call a special on 5.
To reconsider, okay, we'll come back to that and we'll reconsider
And
that.
6.
Mr. Huizar?
20, please.
Number 20 for Mr. Huizar.
And that also 6.
6. We have cards for 6, so that'll be triggered. We also have cards for 17 and 18. Mr. Labange.
Mr. President, to reconsider an item that we took action on last Wednesday, I know we discussed briefly on, I think it was 28.
Last Wednesday would be past the time period, I believe, Madam Clerk. Is that right? You usually get
Our
two.
last, whatever, 2 days?
Was it
What is
two council meetings
The
ago?
last meeting.
July 5th?
Yeah, today's the,
Oh, this week's
Right,
Wednesday.
yeah,
Okay, then
right.
absolutely.
Today's Friday.
If you'll get us the council file, we'll reconsider that, or the number that it was from last?
yeah, I'll
Okay.
check with the clerk. Thank
We'll
you.
do that as soon as we run through the agenda, Mr.
Thank you.
Labange, no problem. Other Hello? Other specials? Okay. We want to open and close the public hearings on all the rest as well. If no one wishes to be heard, let's please prepare the roll on the balance and tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Okay, next items.
That would take council back to the items called special, and I believe there is a request to reconsider item number 5.
Okay, let's do that then. Please open the roll on reconsideration, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Okay, 5 will be called special. Madam Clerk, do you know the item number from the past meeting that Mr. Labange referred to?
28, it's one that takes the power away from the President of City Council and only allows 4 presentations.
That one?
Yeah.
That has to be
Only has
read, remember, it has a 1 week under
Right,
council
that'll be
rules.
over-
So we can
It's
take it
com-
over when
it's
we, I
coming
wanted to
back
make
us.
sure.
Yes, it's coming back to us
Okay.
for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr.
And,
Labange.
Mr. President, there is a request, there was an item that was on Wednesday, it's a street lighting district item, and the Bureau of Street Lighting is requesting that that matter be reconsidered. It was adopted, and instead of being adopted, it should have been received and filed.
Okay.
And that's Council File 060059.
Okay, if we can reconsider 060059. And please open the roll on reconsideration as soon as we have that typed in. Take your time on that, don't worry. And tabulate the vote.
Ten eyes.
Okay, and if we can move to receive and file that, please. Please open the roll on receiving and filing, close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 eyes.
Okay, that is received and filed. All right, we will now, we do have special meeting agenda, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. President, there is a special
Okay,
meeting.
why don't we recess the regular meeting, if we can call roll on special meeting, please?
Cardenas, Gruel, Han, Weezer, Labange, Padilla, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, the item, please?
There is only one item on the agenda. It is an item for which public hearing has not been held, and it's a final track map in CD9.
Okay, we will open and close the public hearing for that if no one wishes to be heard. And if no one wishes to call that special, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. If we can go back to the regular meeting. And now would be time for public comment. If we can, we have cards both here and at City Hall. We will set the clock at 10 minutes of public comment. We'll try to get to as many speakers as possible. I'd like to start first with Melrose Larry Green here.
It's 1 minute, you get
Yeah,
1
we're
minute?
going to do 1 minute.
I'll
Just
be
try to get as
fast.
many people as possible.
I'll just
Go
talk
ahead.
twice as fast. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to thank Councilman Tom Labange for introducing me to Chris Christopherson yesterday. He was honored at the Walk of Fame over at the Guitar Center, and it was a real honor for that. And thank you for the Arlo Guthrie introduction, too. You're really a great guy. Secondly, I want to tell everybody that we have to support the LAPD. I saw a ridiculous news story last night with the chief of police arguing with Councilman Parks about hiring policy with the use of drugs. I don't really care what Chief Bratton is doing. I think it's wonderful that Bratton is in this city. I think 90% of the homeowners in Hollywood Hills, West LA, and Encino are drug users from their college days. And they are the ones that are protecting the LAPD is protecting. And thirdly and lastly, I want to say that you should all adopt a pet. I adopted a cat here. I have more love for my cat than I ever had from any human being. And you should all adopt a pet. My cat's doing great. Thank you, Herb Wesson, for convincing me to adopt my cat. My time is up.
Thank you. Eugenia Hernandez? Oh, Eugenio, excuse me. Or is it Eugene? I'm sorry, can't quite read the writing here. My apologies.
No, you said it right. Eugene Hernandez,
Thank you.
member of the Board of Directors, Sylmar Neighborhood Council. Last Wednesday, I saw the proclamations made in honor of Ed Roybal by the 4 Latino members of the council, and I felt physically revolted by the fact that these 4 members feel upon themselves to take on the mantle of a man who fought against McCarthyism, against police brutality. And the reason I say that is that these 4 city councilmen, Huizar, Cárdenas, Padilla, and Reyes, failed to speak out for the 350 farmers in South Central Farms. Mr. Weezar would rather go out on his shooting dates at the police academy rather than come down and see how the farmers were sustaining themselves. Mr. Reyes, while I admire what you've done with the LA River, I think you should have made it a point to speak out for the farmers. And Mr. Cardenas, you always proclaim the fact that you are the product of farm worker campesino parents. Well, these people are
you, sir.
campesinos. Why didn't you speak out for them?
Thank you, sir.
And as far as Mayor
I'm
Villaraigosa's
sorry, sir. Your time is up. I'm
failure
trying to
speak
keep
out
it as
on
close
this.
to. I'm sorry, sir. If you could wrap up.
Yeah, I think you're a bunch of vendidos. You should have spoken out for us.
Del Goodman is our next speaker.
Good morning, council members. I'm Del Goodman, Vice President for Education and Parent Involvement for 31st District PTSA. I'm here today representing 38,000 parents, teachers, and students who are our members by choice from 120 schools in the San Fernando Valley. I'm also here to tell you that 31st District PTSA has taken an opposed position to Assembly Bill 1381, and I just wanted to go on the record for that, as well as California State PTA, who rarely takes a position on an individual city, but they feel that the impact upon the rest of the state of California on the school districts, that was so important and so significant that they also took an opposed position the way the bill stands at this time. We really feel, and it's proven, that the success for students in school, a big part of it is parent input, and the way the bill is written at this time, we don't see that that's allowing for our parents to have input
Thank you.
into their students' education. So I just want to go on the record that we're opposing AB Bill 1381 from 31st
you.
District PTSA. Thank you.
Your comments, Diana Dixon Davis.
Good morning. My name is Diana Dixon Davis. I'm the Legislation Director for 31st District PTSA, and we have come here with a number of parents who have submitted cards. Maybe you could all stand up, some of you parents who have come representing parents in the community. We join the PTA voluntarily. We pay our own dues. We're an independent organization. We feel very strongly that there are major problems with the mayor proposal. Basically, follow the money. $19 billion a year are going to be allocated by one man, the superintendent of schools. He will present the budget once to the council of mayors, and then it goes to the board for an up or down vote, no amendments. This is really serious. We've never allowed that much money to be spent without public input. Secondly, we have many other issues we'd like to raise. Unfortunately, in our 1 minute, we do not have much time to raise these. We have teachers who are unhappy, parents are unhappy. Basically, my mother always said, haste makes waste. This is a hasty bill. We are
Thank you.
overturning 250 years of public school control by publicly elected school boards.
Thank you. If I
This
can
is
ask you to
something we
conclude,
must
please.
do. I urge you that when your motions come, both you, Mr. Garcetti, and Janice
Thank you very
Hahn,
much.
motions
We're
come
over
before the
time, I'm
board.
sorry. Thank you. Noel Weiss is our next speaker.
I'll try to be quick. Wendy Gruhl, we have the Valley Village issue in your district. It's not time to be captives of our own doubts here. We're in a situation where the motion was presented to Ms. Gruhl. I almost wish, actually, Mr. Zine was born in Melrose. On Wednesday, we had that ICO. I almost wish he was born in Valley Village. I don't know what the character of Valley Village is. Why distinguish that character versus over in Melrose? But we have this. You have the power to really affect these people's lives directly. It's important. We talked about this in April. We talked about it at the end of June. We're now in a position where I'm trying to negotiate something on behalf of these people. We're working with Mr. Garcetti's people in Silver Lake. We made some tremendous strides in Lincoln Place. It can be done, but we need a little assist. And that means basically moving forward with one of these motions, hopefully one of which I think is Rocky-proof. I think both of them are, but we should be able to get the job done. So I appreciate your consideration. Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you. Scott Folsom is our next speaker.
Good morning, President Garcetti, members of the City Council. I'm here today speaking for 10th District PTA, PTSA, and to add and join our voice with our sister PTA from the Valley 31st in requesting and representing the totality of PTA in LA and LAUSD, in requesting that this council go on record in opposition to Assembly Bill 1381. This Assembly Bill specifically addresses the governance of LAUSD, and as that governance is governed by our own city charter, this council needs to go on record and join with the parents and the community of this city and all the cities in LAUSD in opposition of what is essentially a takeover of our school district from Sacramento by others.
Thank you, Mr. Folsom. Joe Friedman is our next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Joe Friedman. I'm a senior citizen living on an acre of land in the Reseda-Encino area of the San Fernando Valley. I want to speak concerning the recycle program. I like the recycling program. It's kind of returned to the pre-mayoralty times, but it does much better. It strikes a good balance between convenience and responsibility. One black, one blue bin make plenty of sense and are adequate for each household, as is the policy of the city. The problem is with the green bin for yard clippings. Now, for a regular lot, one green bin might be enough, but for an acre of land, this doesn't even come close to being enough for that amount of space. Now, I want to keep my property in shape, and the city requires it. But in order to do that, I would have to maintain a pile of debris until I could get rid of it, and that would not satisfy the city. I'm aware of the fact that you can buy extra capacity, and there is some expense in dealing with the recycling yard clippings. And it's also my choice to live on an acre of
If I
land.
can ask you to conclude, sir, your minute is up, but if you have anything written, we'd be happy to look at that as well.
Anything written?
Yeah, I'm sorry, your minute is up, and we're just trying to keep consistent with that, so that's why the timer is there. But if there's anything that you weren't able to communicate, if you'd like to give it to the guard, we'll be happy to look at it.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. And we'll see if we can get somebody to assist you with that particular concern. Deborah Kitch, and then we'll be going downtown. Before we go downtown, after this speaker, I know there's a number of cards. We have about 49 more cards, colleagues, and of course, we're not going to be able to get to all of the speakers today. So I'm going in the order, and we'll be switching between here and downtown. Downtown, I know there are a lot of folks that are there on behalf of the South Central Farmers, so if folks would like to organize themselves, the two or three most important speakers, we'd be happy to take those folks. But please, Ms. Kitch.
Yes, I defer to Batya.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Batya Rollinson. I'm a parent of a child at LAUSD at Sherman Oaks Center for Rich Studies. I'm also PTSA president. We're asking first and foremost that the whole issue of AB 1381 be brought to a vote to the citizens of Los Angeles, and we are asking to have a voice in this matter. Second, we're asking the mayor to stay out of our schools. We don't want him involved. We don't want him running our schools. He's not effectively meeting the needs of our children on the streets. We have over 10,000 children from LAUSD who are homeless. He's not addressing that. How can he address the education of these children? We have thousands of children in LAUSD who go to bed every night hungry, and he's not addressing those needs in the city. We have children who are not able to play in their parks or to be on the street because they are not safe. How can he address the educational needs of our students? We're asking the mayor to stay out of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll next go downtown and I'd like to recognize the South Central Farmers. I have a number of cards I'll read ahead of time, and if you could just identify which speakers you are, but Jeremy Roth-Cushell, Valentin Diaz, Kathy Masaoka, and excuse me, if you're not part of the South Central Farmers, we'll try to get to you. So I'm just reading all the names from downtown right now. Ryan Johnson, Dele Eleman, Soche Lujan, Nayeli Iniguez, Juan Carlos Velasquez, Janet Velasquez, Diana Iniguez, Lydia Ponce, Leandra Carmone, Laura Burns, I know Sheila Bernard is here on a different issue, David Ewing as well, Duke Russell as well, Ahmad Jamal, Juan Ramirez, Ubaldo Tlatoa, Alberto Tlatoa, Elizabeth Vaquero, Araceli Tlatoa, Anselmo Lopez, Kathleen Ford. We'd like to first recognize the South Central Farmers. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Juan Velasquez, and yesterday all I saw was destruction and chaos, and destruction in the part that they bulldozed my favorite place in this whole planet, and chaos because the cops beat the crap out of some farmers, and certain council members allowed that, and I think they had the ability to stop it, but they just let it pass like we were nobody. And I hope that when they get buried in the ground, the land spits them back out, because what they did yesterday and the day before that was not acceptable. I hope that when they get older, they see the mistakes that they did were not worth the cash. I hope they change their minds.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Araceli Clatoan. Yesterday, the bulldozer destroyed the students' plans by hundreds of students from all over Los Angeles. But this is not over. You have only made the soil rich, and we're gonna plant more trees and replant our community. We will win this. Everyone in LA and the whole world is going to watch the steps LA will make, and please stand to save the farm for the children of LA.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Elizabeth Vaquero. I'm a high school student at Santee High. Council people, before you were elected to your positions as a council people, you asked for the community to vote for you, right, Ms. Perry? In City Council, you have a well-paid job with paid taxes money. A rich people doesn't create a community. A community makes a person rich. Why did you let the farm destroy?
Hello, my name is Diana Iniguez, and I've been going to the South Central Farm more than 6 years. It has been the most emotional day in my life. The South Central Farm was like a place for my family and myself. There was no place that I could call home until I found one named South Central Farm. It has been the safest place where kids and families can join. There has been vandalism everywhere. They keep us from gangs, violence, and drugs. Mother Earth has gave us life. Just imagine the world without plants or green. We wouldn't exist. I know there are trees in the city, all everywhere.
Thank you. If I can ask you to conclude.
But this is a place full of fresh air. Animals help us too. When they saw this, their heart was sad.
Sorry, that's all.
We only ask for one thing.
That's all the
No
time we have.
more,
I'm sorry.
no less, just a farm. There has been a lot of problems in LA, especially child obesity. There has been
I'm
a
sorry,
lot
but
of younger
we have to stay
kids that
consistent
have
with
eaten-
everybody, and that's over the time. My apologies. My apologies. We know you've come before, and we'd be happy to hear you again, but we have limited time, unfortunately, today. I'd like to ask somebody from the Lincoln Place folks next to address the council from City Hall, please. And I just ask, I remind each speaker to please watch the clock as close as possible. Thank you.
These brave people from the South Central Farm touch my heart deeply, and I want to thank them. We are facing evictions also at Lincoln Place. Our senior and elderly tenants are threatened with evictions. The Lincoln Place hearing to stop those evictions will not happen until August 18th. However, next Wednesday, council members, you are going to hear in closed session the offer that Lincoln Place Tenants Association has made to the city, asking you to do the right thing so that we can remove you as defendants on the case and sue Aimco for their illegal evictions, because that's the place where the heat needs to go. The heat does not need to go on senior and disabled tenants who are standing up for their rights, as they always were taught and always believed they should do, and as we are teaching these brave children to do also. So I ask for you to direct the city attorney to accept the settlement offer of the Lincoln Place Tenants Association. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to read the following other names in the record. We're now 7 minutes over our public comment time. Folks that are here: Batya Rawlinson, Valinda Jo Wright is here, Marcel Duncan, Matthew Dowd, Michael Hunt, Big ZD, Van Nuys Knights of Columbus, I'm not sure which individual, Laura Sprague, Chuck Tenon, Van Nuys Community Council, Delano Park Teen Center, Sharon Brewer, Bruce Darian, Jamie Cordaro, and Brendan Huffman. And that'll close our public comment period if we can go to the first. Yep.
Is it possible to give them 10 more minutes? Our agenda is not as long. Why not, Jack? It's free speech. You know, I mean, I just say we're here. They want to. They're all down there. They want to express it. You give them 10 more minutes. You could try to get 10 more speakers. All these young people came just so they could express themselves, and that people who are here as well.
If that's a motion, that would require a second. Somebody?
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second, right? Ms.
Second.
Gruhl.
Okay. Well, we will vote on suspending the rules to extend public comment. We can please open the roll. And it's for how long, Mr. Labange?
10 minutes.
For
10 minutes.
10
How many
additional
people need
minutes.
to speak here? 5 and 5?
And
you know?
10 votes are required to
5
suspend the
and
rules.
5.
This would require 10 votes, colleagues. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote. I'm sorry, was that too quick? Go, let's do it slower. Let's do that again. Open the roll. Everybody voted? Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
It's 8 ayes, 3 noes.
That fails. So we will go forward to our first item in the queue. That is item number 5 will be next.
Yeah, and that was called special by
Diane,
Councilmember Zine.
Hold on one second, Ms. Hahn.
Yeah, you know, there's a group of young people that have come all the way down here to speak. And with all due respect, colleagues, the point of having our meetings in the Valley is that so people have an opportunity to drive close by and speak to us. That was the whole point. I mean, I'm driving, you know, an hour to get here, which is fine, but the point of us having our meetings here was so that the public could speak to us without having to drive to downtown Los Angeles. So I think we ought to give, especially a few more minutes. I know there's a group of young people that came specifically to address us. That's, you know, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. Could we take that vote one more time?
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Folks can make motions throughout this meeting if they want to suspend the rules. I believe we did one vote
Let me
already.
make another motion, suspend the rules. That's why we're here, or reconsider. Let's open it. Yeah, we have a very short agenda this morning. Let's give preference to the public.
Mr. President, if I have a suggestion.
Hold on.
If we could, in order to accommodate
Zine is
everyone.
next, and then-
If we could accommodate everyone by this simple task, if we go through the agenda, finish the agenda, and then have the public comment at the end of the agenda, that way we can finish the agenda and then have public comment and not limit it to 10 minutes.
Will all the public officials stay here?
Well, I'll stay here. I don't know about everybody
Will all
else.
the public officials stay here?
But that way we can go, the issue is the agenda, we've got the policy, we do the agenda, and then if we want to extend public comment after, I'll be more than happy.
Just asking for 10 minutes. Our agenda is very short.
It's not going to take 10, we've already 17 minutes over.
Okay, we
what
have
was
the motion
allocated.
one more time before us. It has been seconded.
I think we should have 10 more minutes. Let's let the public
Hold on,
speak
hold
and
on.
then go through our agenda.
Hold on.
Let's try it one
Colleagues?
more time, colleagues.
I want to make a motion that we extend it to the end.
Okay, we have a second motion before us. Is there a second to that? Yes. Okay, Mr. Wesson seconds that.
Do I have a
Ms.
second to
Ms. Gruhl-
mine?
We've got 2 motions.
10
Ms.
minutes.
Ms. Gruhl is next on the speaker queue. Ms. Gruhl.
Okay.
I would ask colleagues, if during this debate on this, please just press your speaker buttons. I'd be happy to recognize you. Thank you.
Again, it is early in the day. We come out only once a month to this location to have people who live in the valley to come here at the location. We've extended at other times 5, 10 minutes. I don't think it's too much to ask to just spend 10 more minutes now for the people who came to the valley.
I'm with you. Our agenda is so short.
Again, it's not as though we have this long agenda that we're going to be here till late hours. So I think
10
it's
minutes,
important. 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes.
Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on either of these motions? If not, we'll take the second motion.
Just to let you know, in the time that we took to talk this, we would have been halfway through the public comment. I sit down and hold my case.
Okay. We've got 41 additional cards, colleagues, just to give you a numerical count. 41 cards. Mr. Zine, no, I know what the motions are. Mr. Zine's motion will be taken first. Do you
I
wanna-
asked, how much time did we spend on the first public comment?
We did 17 minutes.
17 minutes, okay.
How many certificates did we hand out today?
I don't think we handed out
There's
any.
one presentation which we have scheduled today. Mr. Zine's motion will come first in order. This would be to continue public comment for 10 minutes as well.
I would not put 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the end of the session.
Do you want to give a specific
Yeah,
number?
if they want to stay, 30 minutes at the end.
Okay, 30.
You've got 41 cards if you want to give 30 minutes at the end of
All
the
right.
the
Yes,
meeting.
Ms. Gruhl?
If you put it at the end, however, and we have council members that leave, we're not in official
Correct.
capacity.
We would have to
That is
maintain
correct,
quorum,
Mr.
always
Sim?
to have official public comment. We can certainly ask Channel 35 to continue running if we wanted to. It would no longer be an official meeting of the city council, though.
The
And
concern
we-
I have is if there's 41 cards and you give 10 minutes at 41 cards, that's not going to work.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying 30 minutes at the end, that'd be more accommodating.
Mr.
Because
Zine's
10 minutes for
motion
41 doesn't really
is for
cut it.
30 minutes. That still has a second, Mr. Wesson?
Yeah. I'll be here.
Okay, there's a second to that. If we can please open the roll on suspending rules to do that at the end, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that goes forward. We also, hold on, we have another motion before us. We have to vote on that, colleagues. This would be to right now go 10 more minutes right now. Please open the roll on that. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay? We'll have 10 more minutes of public hearing right now. We'll return here. We'll ping pong back and forth. We'll do 5 and 5 here in City Hall, 1 minute each. And Batya Rawlinson is our next speaker. Is Batya Rawlinson here? Okay, she already spoke. I'm sorry. Valinda Jo Wright is our next speaker here.
And paraphrase says, "Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I came not to destroy, but to fulfill. Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called least in the kingdom of the heavens. If your righteousness does not abound more than that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will by no means enter into the kingdom of heavens." Because of the blood, sweat, and tears of Reverend Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Medgar Evers, Cesar Chavez, the Kennedy family, and 4 little girls, we stand here, the next generation, council persons, mayor, police officers, lawyers, Fortune 500 CEOs faced with a similar pivotal decision. How do we forge a brighter future for our children? Thank you.
Thank you. Marcel Duncan? Or Marcette Duncan? Marcel, I believe. Is Marcel Duncan here? Yes.
Oh, Marcy. I use my formal name.
I'm sorry, Marcy.
That's okay. Good morning, everybody, audience, and City Council. Thank you for having me here. I'd like to talk about the problem that's going to exist on Magnolia Boulevard in Valley Village after they erect all those condos. I travel the freeways every day from Glendora, Pasadena, and the Burbank area into Valley Village, and after I hook into all the freeways, I exit at Magnolia off the 170 freeway. From Colfax and Magnolia up to where I live, which is like, maybe a block and a half, there's 2 lights, and it takes me almost 8 minutes to get there. The ride from Monrovia and Pasadena is probably 25 minutes. So I would like to appeal to the council to reconsider the environmental hazard on this area, on this particular block. So there is a need to identify and study the potential for an adverse environmental impact on the residential neighborhood and community in Valley Village. So before anything is passed and a track map, I ask Wendy Gruhl, please, 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 Wendy, to review this and to look at it. And I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Julie Korenstein.
Good job. Come on, Julie. Come on, Julie. Public speaking.
Good morning. Nice to
morning.
see you all. Hi, Jose. I just saw you yesterday. I wanted to, I certainly don't need to bring to your attention the current bill that is up in Sacramento, and that's AB 1381. You already heard from both the 10th District and 31st District PTSA, as well as the state PTSA, which is opposed to this. I brought a resolution to the board last week, and I'd like to read it into the record, and I will leave you a copy. And I also have a letter from the Southeast City Schools Coalition, Bell, Cudahy, Huntington Park, Maywood, Southgate, and Vernon, the mayors from all of those cities in opposition to the bill. The resolution reads, whereas over the past 5 years, student achievement within Los Angeles Unified School District has improved at a rate that outpaces California Public Schools' average improvement by an impressive 150%. And whereas the first students to have completed elementary school during this period of improvement are just now entering secondary schools, and because of this strong foundation will undoubtedly lift test scores and graduation rates in our secondary schools. And whereas any plan to accelerate the pace and widen the breadth of an educational transformation must have the full participation of parents, students, teachers, administrators, and all relevant stakeholders if it is to support and build upon current gains. And whereas the democratic process as such is an essential and necessary component in providing stakeholder involvement in school improvement, allowing those most affected by such efforts to elect the individuals that best represent them and their interests. And whereas the plan for changing the governance structure of LAUSD enumerated in AB 1381 was formulated by a handful of individuals behind closed doors to the exclusion of many key stakeholders with no participation by parents, students, classroom teachers, administrators, the elected Board of Education, elected officials in the 26 cities outside of Los Angeles that the LAUSD serves, the majority of bargaining units representing LAUSD employees, and the general public. Whereas AB 1381 embodies an exclusionary style of governance, concentrating authority over educational practices, priorities, and the LAUSD budget in the executive office of the superintendent, and grants the superintendent full authority over all contracts, all litigation, and the entire $19 billion school construction program, thus deliberately removing fiduciary oversight from the elected Board of Education and the public. Whereas, though proponents of AB 1381 state it is meant to increase local control, the bill actually diminishes local control by weighing the mayor of Los Angeles' voting power on the proposed Council of Mayors to 80%, thus enabling one city's interest to trump the interests of 26 other cities, and structurally guaranteeing conflict of interest around budget and land use decisions given the often distinct priorities in municipalities and school districts. And whereas local control as a fundamental tenet of responsive representative government is further diminished in AB 1381 by removing the Board of Education's ability to adjust budgets based on the specific needs of their constituents. And whereas proponents of AB 1381 state it is meant to increase accountability, the bill actually lessens accountability by removing deliberations involving billions of dollars from the sunshine of public hearings, allowing the superintendent to make these determinations outside the purview of the Board of Education and the protocols of the Brown Act. Whereas in an attempt to involve other stakeholder groups, AB 1381 actually decreases accountability by identifying and creating several distinct governance bodies, each with some involvement in budgetary and policy decisions. I will get to the resolved.
Thank you.
Okay. Resolved that the Board of Education of the Los Angeles Unified School District reaffirms its strong opposition to AB 1381 and any similar legislation that bypasses the LAUSD electorate in seeking changes to school district governance. Be it further resolved that the Board of Education of Los Angeles Unified School District, on behalf of hundreds of thousands of students and parents it serves and the millions of stakeholders it represents, demands that the public and all relevant stakeholder groups be included through formal and informal processes, both electoral and otherwise, in any current or future decisions to fundamentally changing school governments within LA University. I appreciate you giving me a few extra minutes. I will leave you also the letter from the other mayors. This is probably the most draconian piece of legislation that I've ever seen in my 20 years as a Board of Education elected official. It will change the governments to the point where the public will no longer have a say. Budgets will be reviewed by the Council of Mayors. And remember, 80% is for your mayor, not your city council, your mayor. The board will be able to vote it up or down, not make any changes.
Thank you, Ms. Gorenstein.
The superintendent will have full control over every single contract in LA Unified, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, no oversight by the publicly elected board that oversees taxpayers' money. I assure you there will be graft and corruption.
Thank you, Ms. Gorenstein.
Thank you so
We
much.
appreciate your comments, and I know there's some folks in the audience. It's a mutual courtesy that we give elected officials, since they represent many folks, that they have some extra time. We will not take away from the speakers to do that. Delano Park Teen Center is our next presenter.
Thank you, Mr. President. Candido Maris, Van Nuys Neighborhood Council, Van Nuys Delano Park President. Here are the kids from Delano Park. They want to speak. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Anthony Ventura. I'm here to represent Delano Park, and I just thank you for your time. And this is Wendy. She's going to speak to you.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Rivera, and I attend Delano Park. I'm here to talk to you today about our park and what we do there. What we do is we do activities and we do community service and we play sports. The park means a lot to us because it keeps us out of trouble, it keeps us out of drugs and everything, and we try to do that for other kids too. After school, Monday through Friday, we have tutoring for kids who want to need help with school or something like that. And then every Friday, we have we reunite all of us, all the teens, and then we make food for them, and then we watch movies or we play sports, and that's what we do. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our last of the five for this area is Van Nuys Knights of Columbus. Thank you. Van Nuys Knights of Columbus.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Our new Grand Knight is not here. He just wanted us to. There's two sides to every story. Mayor Viragosa is having a town hall meeting on August 3rd. We need to hear both sides. This is a great discussion. This is the best part about living in Los Angeles. We throw everything out there and we let everybody decide for themselves. So again, on August the 3rd at Valley College, the mayor will have a town hall meeting.
Thank you very much. We'll now go back to downtown, to City Hall, and ask Duke Russell to come forward. If Mr. Russell is still there. Duke Russell. Go ahead, Mr. Russell.
President Garcetti, members of the council, good morning. My name is Duke Russell. Only 97 black freshmen are enrolled at UCLA. The return of football to Los Angeles City College will help improve that number by many more than that. And young people will go to four-year colleges too if we restart football. I invite you, President Garcetti, to take the lead in this. LACC is in your council district. I invite you and all the members to come to the Board of Trustees meeting next Wednesday on July the 12th. The Chancellor, Rocky Young, loves sports at Pierce College. He kept football there. Each student brought in over $4,500 to the district. That's $450,000. 6 LACCs have football. We want football. We want the football field rebuilt at LACC and the stadium, just like Valley College. Please go to the meeting and tell the Chancellor.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. I believe the balance of the cards are either from the Lincoln Place folks or South Central Farmers. Is there anybody there in City Hall speaking on a different matter? If there's anybody a different matter, Please let yourself be known. Otherwise, we'll split 2 and 2, with 2 more from South Central Farms and 2 more from Lincoln Place. So if the South Central Farmers, if there's nobody else there, why don't the South Central Farmers give us 2 more speakers, please? You just give us your name. Oh, Sylvia, we do have one other person, so we'll go Sylvia Lynn Hawkins next.
Okay, again, I'm next.
Go ahead, Ms. Hawkins, yes, go ahead.
Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Ms. Sylvia Hawkins. This is for all police officers. This is not the time to throw a party of any kind. No party for any fiesta or any special event of all police officers, Los Angeles police officers, or any county of California. All parties has been canceled because of the closeness of bombs and shootouts versus the city of Los Angeles. All black people must stay inside their apartment until Hawkwood 8 is complete. Again, we are getting very close to bombs and shootouts. So our police officer must be informed and must stay alert and ready, not party land. Thank you very much.
I see Ms. Doherty there. Before we hear from the South Central Farmers, I'm sorry, Donna Doherty, just to your left, is here on a different item. If you can let her speak, please. Ms. Doherty.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to see everybody in the Valley. This is a little bit of a surprise, but for those of you in the Valley, for everybody all over the area, please be aware that on Tuesday, the 11th of July, we have a meeting here in City Hall. On the agenda is the fight for access, equal access at the front entrance of Griffith Observatory. We've got $93 million of our taxpayers' money in there, and we're ending up with 12 steps only at that front 4 doors. We need sloping walkways as well as the front steps so that everybody has equal access, not that we have disabled and people with strollers being routed around the end of a wing in one door and then having to come back the whole wing to get to the front 4 doors, or being at the front 4 doors when there's an emergency and they can't get out because they're in a wheelchair. Everybody remember the acronym SUPER, Shared Use Pathways for Equal Rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If we can have one speaker from the South Central Farms and one speaker from the Lincoln Place, please. Go ahead. Thank you.
Good morning, City Council. I wonder if Horowitz
Excuse me,
and
could
John
you-
Perry...
I'm sorry, could you give me your name, sir, just so we can have it for the record?
Ubaldo Clatoa.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I wonder if Horowitz and John Perry ate dinner before the bulldozing. I wonder why. Horowitz and John Perry had dinner together Sunday before the bulldozing, and why? It was sad seeing them bulldozing in front of her face, yeah, and the one who was bulldozing just was laughing at us, you know, they didn't care, and it was sad, you know, all the farmers were right there, you know, trying to stand up and look hard, because we're not going to give up. We're going to keep on fighting until the end. It's not over, you know, and we're not going to give up easily, man. And what goes around comes around. Thanks.
We have one speaker from Lincoln Place. We have a speaker from Lincoln Place Apartments. Excuse me 1 second, sir. If not, go ahead. We'll go. If you can give us your name from South Central Farmers. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
Oh, mi nombre es Valentín Díaz.
My name is Valentín Díaz.
Lo único que quiero recordarles es el día 13 de junio.
The only thing I would like to remind you of is
El día
on
5
June
de
the
julio.
13th, on July the 5th,
Lo que ha pasado allí son dos cabezas potentes que están ahí.
what happened there is two powerful heads.
Una en la política y otra con el dinero.
One is politics and another one is money.
Han destruido nuestros árboles,
They
han
have
destruido nuestro
destroyed
jardín,
our trees, our garden,
pero no han destruido los campesinos del South Central.
but they did not destroy the farmers of South Central.
Allí estamos.
There we are,
Vamos a seguir con más fuerza.
and we are going to keep on
Hasta
struggling
ahorita estamos todavía aquí.
with more
Y nos van a
force.
seguir mirando.
We are still here. You are still going to
Con
look
más
at us.
lucha, con
We are
más
still
fuerza.
struggling.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. That will close the 10 minutes of public comment now. We still have 33 speaker cards, which may be addressed in part at the end of the council meeting per our earlier vote. If we can now go to the agenda.
Next item, Mr. President, is item number 5, and that was called special by Councilmember Zine.
Okay. Mr. Zine, we have number 5 before us. Why don't we hold that on the desk for a moment? Mr. Zine? Okay, he's coming right now. All right, Mr. Zine, number 5.
Thank you, Mr. President. The issue regards the drop program with the LAPD, the fire department, and there's some concerns regarding the specifics. Mr. Fujioka has the information. I understand he's not here today. I've discussed it with representatives from the Protective League. I haven't discussed it with representatives from the fire department. I discussed it with my colleague, Councilmember Parks, and we don't want to stop the drop program, but we want to make sure that there are safeguards because there's been some issues that have come up of great concern. And I don't want to call it abuse, but there's been some situations that have taken place, all people in that drop program, that shouldn't be happening. So we want to put the safeguards and the specifics about those. We need to have Mr. Fujioka, since he's the key person who I've been discussing this with. And since it's an issue that we want to continue in place to retain the people in the police department and fire department, as that incentive of the drop program, the Deferred Ops Retirement Program, we need to cover these safeguards. So if we could know what day Mr. Fujioka is returning, if it's Tuesday, we can continue till Tuesday, or if it's Wednesday, but I understand he's not here today. Do we know what day he'll return?
Information.
Okay, that still gives us sufficient time. It's not, this doesn't expire till April 2007. So then the respectful request that we continue it till the 18th, and that way we can get everything taken care of with the representative units that are affected by the drop program. Because if we don't maintain this control, it's going to create greater problems down the road.
Okay. Is there anybody else who wishes to be heard on this one from the council? If not, we have a proposal to continue it. If there is no objection, we'll continue it till that date. Thank you. We'll now return to first order of business, which is presentations. We have one presentation today. I'd like to recognize from Council District 14, Jose Huizar, and the Mayor of Los Angeles, Antonio Villaraigosa.
Good morning, colleagues. If I could ask Councilmember Ed Reyes and President of the Council, Eric Garcetti, to also join with us here today. I'm really thrilled this morning and with great pride and humility that I stand here with my two colleagues and Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa to recognize a hero, Corporal Guy Gabaldon. Corporal Gabaldon grew up in my neighborhood of Boyle Heights in East Los Angeles, an area their mayor also grew up in. And Corporal Gabaldon was known for his bravery during World War II as a member of the 2nd Regiment of the 2nd Marine Division, and he continues to inspire us even after 60 years of his service in the military at that time. He is a proud member of a long and growing line of Mexican Americans who have proudly served this nation and continue to do so throughout the world. Corporal Gabaldon, whose language skills acquired from the Japanese friends he made growing up in Boyle Heights, enabled him to capture more than 1,100 enemy soldiers during combat, earning him a recommendation from his commanding officer for the Congressional Medal of Honor. Although he was ultimately awarded the Navy Cross, many of us, and a growing movement throughout the United States, would like to lend our voices to the growing chorus calling for the President of the United States and the Department of Defense to reinstate his commanding officer's original recommendation to make Corporal Gabaldon the 41st Mexican-American to be granted this nation's highest honor. Semper Fidelis, the motto of the U.S. Marine Corps, means always faithful. Corporal Gabaldon was indeed always faithful to his fellow Marines and to the people of this great nation, and we thank him for his service and for the opportunity to honor him today. Ladies and gentlemen, This is a true hero who has served this nation, and a true hero who inspires all of us, and a real role model. We're here today to honor him, to support him, and many others in the effort to get him the original recommendation. Now it's my pleasure to invite Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, who will also share with us a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Huizar, for inviting me to be here with you. Thank you for allowing me the honor of being here with Guy Gabaldon, who's here with us in chambers today as we honor a great war hero. You know, you oftentimes hear me talk about my mom, and I can tell you that my mom would have a smile on her face right now. My mom grew up in Boyle Heights around the same time as Mr. Gabaldon. She knew his story, as many Americans of Mexican descent who grew up in Boyle Heights knew his story. It was a story of a highly decorated World War II Marine veteran, a hero of the American campaign in the Pacific, a member of our greatest generation, whose courage saved thousands of lives, both American and Japanese, during the siege on Saipan in 1994. I'm also very proud to say he's the son of Los Angeles, born and raised in Boyle Heights. And yeah, Tommy knows Boyle Heights. And so on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, I want to be the first to say, welcome, home Guy. And I also want to tell you what a privilege it is to be here with a fellow Angelino. Many of you know that Mr. Gabaldon was awarded the Silver Star and the Navy Cross in recognition for his extraordinary heroism during the summer of 1944. Fresh out of Camp Pendleton and just 17 years old, 17 years old, Gabaldon was assigned as a scout to the 2nd Regiment of the 2nd Marine Division. His unit was sent to the South Pacific, their mission to take the island of Saipan. In his first few days of heavy fighting, he did what every young soldier does. He did his best to stay alive, and the thunder of mortar rounds and the deadly sting of machine gun fire. Then, seized by creativity, courage, and a dose of youthful bravado, he began venturing out on lone wolf missions looking for prisoners. The Japanese defending the island were known for their ferocity, and taking prisoners was virtually unknown. Yet Guy Gabaldon, over the course of 2 months, convinced 1,100 Japanese soldiers to surrender. Now, folks, 1,100 prisoners is a feat unrivaled in American military history. No one, not a 20-year-old, not a 50-year-old, no one has ever captured and gotten to surrender 1,100 prisoners. His commanding officer dubbed him the Pied Piper of Saipan. You see, growing up in Boyle Heights, Gabaldon was fortunate to have immersed himself in the Japanese-American community that then called the neighborhood home. He hung out with Japanese-American teenagers and got to know their families. He came to respect the culture and even learned to speak some Japanese. These language skills served him, his unit, and the people of Saipan well in the summer of '44. Surrounded by death and destruction, Gabaldon chose a different path. Risking his own life, he convinced 1,100 Japanese, sometimes with force, sometimes with charm, but always with guile, to quit the bloody fight. His heroics saved not only the lives of those 1,100 Japanese, but the lives of his fellow Marines as well. Guy, yours is not only a story of daring and wit, but also of decency and compassion in the midst of war. We honor you today as a role model for our community, an inspiration to the thousands of Angelinos in uniform today across the globe. Our military policies abroad may be the subject of debate today, but there is no debating the valor, commitment, and integrity of our fighting men and women. It's men and women like you who set that standard. And Guy, I want to thank you for being a role model for our community. I want to say how proud I am to be standing here with you today. and I want to thank you for embodying the very best that our nation has to offer. And I want to add my voice with Council Member Huizar, who will be putting a motion before this council to ask the President and the Department of Defense to do what they should have done in the mid-1940s, and that is give this man his appropriate due, a Congressional Medal of Honor for a man who distinguished himself in a way that few have in military history. Thank you, Guy. Thank you, Guy, and as Councilmember Huizar said, Semper Fi.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and now we'll hear from our President of the Council, Eric Garcetti.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huizar. I will be short. Thank you, Zuma. I want to thank Mr. Gabaldon for his service. My grandfather, too, was raised in Boyle Heights. He became a citizen, actually, as a Mexican immigrant because of his service also in the Pacific Theater. And recently I was studying the military salute and the order of when you give your salutes. And there's an interesting fact that no matter what your rank is, you're the commander-in-chief. When there's a Congressional Medal of Honor winner who walks by you, the highest admiral, the highest ranking general, the commander-in-chief, the Secretary of Defense has to salute that individual. While we salute you here today, and your Navy Cross is certainly something you should be very, very proud of, I think we all know that this country should salute you, and it's fitting that we push forward, and I want to thank Mr. Huizar and Mr. Villaraigosa for joining the chorus with your two powerful voices, that you should be able to wear that so that each of us can officially salute you each and every day that we see you. You stood for freedom, and you also stood for what's best about Los Angeles in bringing together from your own experiences in a multicultural Boyle Heights what this city stands for and what freedom truly means. So thank you for your service, and we hope we can be a small voice in furthering this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. And now we'll hear from Councilmember Ed Reyes.
It truly is an honor to be here with my colleagues, with Mayor Villaraigosa. And I think it's important that we understand the significance of this presentation in the eyes of our young people. My 15-year-old, Eddie, often asks me, Pops, why don't we see positive images of Latinos, of Mexican Americans on TV? Why are we the drug dealers? Why are we the ones that are stealing the cars? Why are we the ones that they shoot those scenes in prison? I tell him, hijo, you'd be amazed how many heroes we have. And today I have the honor of saying that we have a living hero before us. And for that, I thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for this country. It's an honor.
Thank you very much. And now, colleagues and public, it's my honor and the mayor's honor, along with the City Council, to present this City of Los Angeles Certificate of Recognition to Corporal Guy Gabaldon. And we're here to tell him we support him. We're here to tell him we honor you. We're here to tell him thank you.
Thank you. Is it too heavy for you?
I am standing up. Mayor,
Are you standing?
I can use a bench, but I want to thank you very much and every member of the council. But you say I captured 1,100 Japanese. It was 1,500. It's according to Marine.
1,500.
But
the record straight.
But you know, many people don't know that I was also taken prisoner by one Japanese. She's sitting right over there, my wife. But she was well armed, and I surrendered. But you know, being married to Japanese for the last 42 years, I now know Japan's secret weapon, my mother-in-law. I noticed, Mayor, you said Corporal Guy Gabaldon. I was, up until just recently, I was at PFC, and the Commandant of the Marine Corps had a little bash in my honor in Washington, D.C., and he said, Guy, he says, with the authority vested in me as the Commandant of the Marine Corps, I do hereby promote you to Corporal. And I got up to the mic and I said, General, I said, I'm getting old and hard of hearing. Did you say Colonel? I said, how about some back pay? but anyway, those of you who saw my movie, Hell to Eternity, I'm sure you can see the resemblance. Jeffrey Hunter portrayed me. He's a blonde and blue-eyed, 6'2". But I wanted to portray myself, but they said I didn't fit the part. Now I'm very grateful. A wonderful producer, Steve Rubin, just finished doing a documentary of me, and it'll be premiered Sunday at the Convention Center. Here's Steve. Thank you very much for all you've done. I'm very grateful. God had his hand on my shoulder on Saipan. I'd like to take just 1 minute to tell you the real valor, the courage of the Chicano Marines. Not me, but I worked on my own when we hit Saipan on June 15, 44. I went over the hill in the wrong direction. I went into Japanese territory. I came back the next day with a couple of prisoners. My command officer says, "Don't you ever do that again. This is the Marine Corps. This is teamwork, and you're not a prima donna. You're not going to work on your own." So I said, "Yes, sir." So that night, I loaded my pockets with ammunition, went back into Japanese territory. I came back with 50 prisoners, and he says, "What the hell? Let the little jerk go. He's getting results." So after that, they tell me it was the first time in Marine Corps history that one man, a PFC, worked on his own. I was freelance throughout the whole campaign. I'd go into Japanese territory, and I'd come back with 10, 15, 20 prisoners. And one day I was very fortunate. I got 800 in 4 hours. And who was a prisoner? But anyway, I'd like to tell you, I hope I'm not taking too much time. I'd like to tell you about one incident. Being that I worked alone, I was in the town of Garapan. I was the first American to ever go into Garapan on Saipan. And I heard machine gun fire. After a few days of combat, you can tell the difference between an Ambu and an American machine gun. So I spotted 3 Marines. All Marines back then were about 17, 18, 19 years old. And I spotted these 3 Marines in a little ravine, and so they couldn't be hit by the machine gun fire. And I says, "Yeah, what the hell are you guys doing here? This is my turf." But I noticed one of them was a Chicano, and so we got to talking. And I says, "Where are you from?" He says, "Los Angeles." I said, "So am I." I says, "Where about in L.A.?" He says, "Maravilla." I said, "I'm from Boyle Heights." And he says, "Well, let's fight." But anyway, this guy, he pulled out a little Bible. Back then we were issued the New Testament by the Marine Corps. And he pulled this out and he read for the Bible and put it back in his pocket. He grabbed his M1 and jumped out of the ravine. And I hollered, "Hit the deck, you crazy bastard." It was suicide. And he had pulled a grenade off of his belt and pulled the pin and was holding onto the spoon. And he got hit. He got hit bad. We had a grandstand view just peeking over the edge of the ravine. You see pieces of his head flying off and his body and all. He went down. The grenade went off, blew his arm off, but he was already dead. And he gave his life for 2 other Marines and myself. This allowed us to get out of the ravine. That's a Chicano Marine. His name was Alfredo Alberto. I never knew the guy. I've tried to find what outfit he was in. But who knows, who remembers Alfredo? Nobody. This is real courage. That's Medal of Honor type of activity. I believe Medal of Honor should be presented posthumously. I don't deserve the Medal of Honor. I think the Navy Cross is the highest medal in the Marine Corps. And I thank the good Lord. I thank the Marine Corps for honoring me with the Navy Cross. It looks like the Medal of Honor is coming through now. I'll receive it in the name of all the Chicano Marines, the Chicano servicemen. Thank you once again, Mayor. Thank you one and all.
Madam President, with your indulgence, can we have the council come to the front so we could all take a picture with this very special individual, as you can see. I also want to introduce with us today is Rick Leal, the president of the Hispanic Medal of Honor Society. Thank you, welcome, and thank you for being here as well. Yeah, we're going to take a picture.
Hey, Matt, you can do roll-ins with us, right?
Thank you very much, Mr. Huizar and Mr. Villaraigosa. And thank you to Mr. Gabaldon as well for his heroism and his wonderful, wonderful words. If we can ask folks to respectfully clear the middle of the chambers here, of the horseshoe. We will, Mr. Zine, we will next be taking up item number 6. There are cards on item number 6, which requires a public hearing, is that correct? Madam
Yes,
Clerk?
Mr. President,
Okay.
and also for council's information, Mr. Fujioka won't be available until the 21st, so if you wish to change the continuation date, then on number 5 and 6.
The 21st. Also, we're going to do number 6.
He won't be
the same
back
way.
until the 21st. You want to continue it?
Well, is
Well,
that
he
what
won't
the-
be available. He'll be back in town, but then he's got another commitment, so he won't be available until
That still
the
gives us
21st.
sufficient time.
Okay.
This doesn't expire
Do you
until
want to keep
April.
you
so-
want to keep it the 21st, or you want to go next meeting after that? Let's make it the meeting after that one. Which would be the next meeting, Madam Clerk?
Next meeting after the 21st then would be Tuesday, the July 25th.
That's
Gotcha.
fine.
Okay,
And I
to
wanted
the 25th.
item number 6 the same.
Okay.
Because they're connected. We need his testimony on both.
Okay. If there's no objection on item 6, we will continue that to the same date as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item, please. Oh, if we can reconsider 7, we did get a public speaker card from City Hall.
And also, there is a substitute motion that has been distributed, and I believe that was being held on the desk for the substitute motion.
Okay. Why don't we take the public comment first from City Hall? Sylvia Hawkins is there on item number 7, please. Item 7. Okay, we have a fire alarm that's going off in City Hall, I've been informed. Why don't we hold 7 on the desk and see if, when that fire alarm's over, if she returns, to make sure that we take public comment for that. Next item after 7?
Next item, Mr. President, is item number 17, and that was call special for cards from the public.
That is Melrose Larry Green, is item number 7.
Good morning, good morning. This is a great item, item number 17. My name is Melrose Larry Green. Item 17 is declaring the Shakespeare Festival, Two Gentlemen of Verona, a special event. And it's sponsored by Council people Perry and Parks. And it's very important that people of color, and I consider myself to be a person of color, be allowed to portray all roles in Shakespeare. When I was a kid, all I ever played was Shylock of Merchant of Venice. And why can't Hispanics and African Americans and Armenians and Palestinians and Iranians play the role of Romeo and Juliet, play the role of Hamlet? And I think this is a great step in the right direction. Shakespeare is wonderful. All of you that can learn Shakespeare, learn about Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Merchant of Venice, Two Gentlemen of Verona. This is wonderful. I say more Shakespeare and less politicking in Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody wishing to be heard on this item? If not, let's prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. If we go back to 7, I was informed our public speaker left before the fire alarm, so we will open and close the public hearing on number 7. And we have the amending motion has been circulated. So if nobody wishes to be heard on this, let's prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved as well. Next item, please.
Next item is item number 18, called special for cards from the public, and there is a substitute motion that has been distributed to the council members.
Okay, we also have cards on this. I just want to reiterate council policy here that during a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council, there's a need for civility and expedition in the carrying out of public business. When addressing the City Council, please direct your remarks to the council as a whole and refrain from personal, impertinent, abusive, or profane remarks. And also to further the orderly process of the meeting in a timely manner and thus to avoid the possible loss of a quorum, if a member of the public wishes to speak on more than one item, he or she shall limit his or her remarks to a total of 6 minutes per meeting unless council grants additional time by majority vote. A member of the public may allocate time between items in 1-minute increments up to 2 minutes. Members of the public speaking on a particular item shall constrain their remarks to that item or be ruled out of order. So on item 18, we'd like to ask Valinda Jo Wright to come forward as our first speaker.
I just wanted to say I hope everyone had a nice 4th of July.
Thank you. Matt Dowd is our next speaker.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be up at Van Nuys. After the invitation from Channel 35 to come up and give my comment on selected items, and this is an important one to me Diabetes, that's quite a chronic problem for a lot of people. It runs in my family and certain council people, and probably a broad range of the community as well. And so I'm all for the City of Los Angeles putting aside money to promote awareness, and I hope this receives the full support of the council, and I'll be back in a little moment after these messages for another comment. Thank you.
Thank you. That closes our public comment for this item. Anybody wishing to be heard? If not, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item is item number 20, and that was called special by Councilmember Weezer.
We have one public speaker card on this. Mr. Dowd, if you'd like to come forward.
Thank you very much. I knew I'd be back, but that was quick. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I just want people to know this is a meeting of the Neighborhood Council Review Commission using the Tom Bradley Room in City Hall Tower. I think that's a public meeting, and these neighborhood councils, they're really an important part of legislation now. Apparently that everything goes through them, but I did try to, put something through my neighborhood people, but that got swept under the carpet. So I'm going to go to that meeting and find out what's happening with the neighborhood councils and why they're letting a lot of people just fall by the wayside. In a lot of neighborhoods around LA, you don't have to look far to find people in the street.
Thank you, Mr. Dowd. Ms. Hahn? Do you want to?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to highlight this item to announce that the first meeting will be July 13th up in the Tom Bradley Towers. And this will be mandated by the city charter. We have to take a look at our neighborhood council process and review it, analyze it, within 7 years of when they were implemented. So this is the commission that will be doing that. I want to encourage everyone to show up to these meetings. They are public meetings. I want to encourage neighborhood councils. Even those of you who are out there have been frustrated. Maybe you're a little burned out. Maybe they're not exactly what you thought they would be. This is the time that we can actually look at something that was never before tried in the city of Los Angeles, which was neighborhood councils, which was empowering people at the neighborhood level. But there have been starts and stops and fits, and there's been some bureaucratic tape that we've tried to cut every time we've seen it. But this is an opportunity to take a comprehensive look. There's 29 people that sit on this commission from various backgrounds. There's some folks representing academia. There are certainly people there who are representing neighborhood councils. There are educators. But this is a great opportunity for us to look at this great movement, neighborhood councils, and find out whether or not we need to make another charter change, whether or not we can tweak them, whether we can cut some more bureaucratic tape, and whether we can make sure that the voices in Los Angeles are heard loud and clear. So they have a year to bring back a report to the City Council. And again, I just want to encourage neighborhood councils out there and all the public to go to these meetings and have your voice heard on the whole process of neighborhood councils in the city of Los Angeles. I think we can make them better. I think there's ways that they have been impeding sometimes people's voices. So let's use this opportunity. It may never come again. The charter mandates that we only do it once. So this may never come again. So I just want to tell everyone to take advantage of this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Mr. Reyes.
I just rise and thank my colleague for emphasizing the importance of this meeting. I just wanted to ask if anyone here would know if we're going to have translation devices. I think it's important to allow folks the confidence that they can come and speak up regardless of their command of the English language, their ability to articulate in the language that perhaps represents a large portion of their neighborhood. The notion of diversity is a very real dynamic in the city. If the neighborhood councils will take on the role that we hope it can. Its ability to understand its cultural diversity will be just as significant. So I'm hoping that our general services and folks who are staffing and making sure that we're recording the statements, that we have the appropriate devices that maximize our ability to communicate with each other. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Anybody else wishing to be heard on this? Ms. Hahn?
If the city clerk is here, let's answer that question right now, whether or not there will be translation services available at every one of these public meetings. That's a very good point.
Yeah. All right.
Could you say that again, just with the microphone? Okay.
Good.
The city clerk says that, yes, there will be.
Okay, good.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to be heard on this? If not, let's prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. That finished the regular agenda, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mr. President, it does.
Okay, pursuant to our earlier motion, we will return to...
Mr. President, do you wish to clear the desk before?
Sure, let's do that.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Those are posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Perry requests to be excused Tuesday, July 18th to arrive at 11:30 for city business. A motion is required.
Okay, Mr. Parks moves and Mr. Levon seconds. That is granted if there's no objection.
Councilmember Padilla requests to be excused Wednesday, July 12th for personal business and Friday, July 14th for city business. A motion is required on both of those.
What was the date of the one that we just did before that?
For Ms. Perry, that was July 18th.
Okay, colleagues, I want to just bring to everybody's attention, and when Ms. Perry, we'll talk to you as well, that the 19th is the deadline for any ballot measures, and we're going to be close in terms of quorum on some of those days, so we may need council to reconsider, some of the council members, depending on our attendance, their prior commitments if possible. The 19th is the deadline, so it will depend when, I know there's a number of different council members who are considering bringing some items before us, and so that's a Wednesday, two Wednesdays. So we'll move on the second excuse. We will Ms. Hahn moves and Ms. Gruhl seconds, and we will grant those as well. But just a heads up that we may need to touch in with folks again. Okay.
And Mr. Weezer requests to be excused Wednesday, July 12th for city business. A motion is required on that also.
Okay, Mr. Zine moves and Mr. Weston seconds. If there's no objection, that will be granted as well.
And that clears the desk.
Okay, we'll return to public comment. Is Laura Sprague here? Is it Sprague? Excuse me.
Good morning, LA City Council. My name is Laura Sprague, and with regard to the condo conversions and demolitions of buildings to build unaffordable condos, I have two questions. Why is there two classes of tenants? The first would be the condo conversions with tenants' rights under 1988 Law 1295.2, and the demolitions for new condos, tenants with no rights. I would like to present to all of LA City Council a motion by Noel Weiss to give all tenants the same rights under 1295.2. And I'd like to also please hand out information for the motion and for the section 1295.2 to each LA City Council member. Thank you.
Thank you. Chuck Tenon is our next speaker. Mr. Tenon.
Good morning, council members. My name is Chuck Tenon. I have two things. One, in 1988, under 882209, the LA City Council files, the problem with housing crisis and demolitions and unaffordable housing and the loss of that, the housing situation was the exact same in 1988. And yet there was all kinds of motions passed in that, and yet in almost 18 years, nothing was ever passed. So why has it taken this long and no ordinance has ever been passed? And in 1989, the City Council passed a motion for 5% vacancy rate. There was environmental review committees, CEQA, everything, almost 20 years, nothing. The second thing is, I'd like to present to Wendy Gruhl, our leader in District 2 and the LA City Council, a motion and the diagram for Valley Village with regard to track map approval of developers who want to demolish and build in areas that have adverse environmental impact and unmitigatable traffic congestion. Wendy, you're our leader. we hope you would introduce this to the council. We have faith in you, and you're the one that has to do that. The context in this comes from Ed Reyes, Bernardi, Rosendahl, Garcetti, and Wendy Krul on past motions. The context into this.
Sir, you're
I'd
over
like,
the time. If I can ask you to please stop. Thank you.
I'd like to present these to all the council
Please, if you
members.
give them to the guard, that would be fine.
Thank
Van
you.
Nuys Community Council's next. Is anybody here still from the Van Nuys Community Council? Please.
Good morning, President
Good morning.
Garcetti and members of the City Council. I want to thank you once again for coming to the Van Nuys City Hall to conduct your City Council meeting on the first Friday of each month. And like the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council, we meet on the second Wednesday right next door at 7 o'clock. I've been, a lot of people have come to me asking that they want to come to the City Council meetings. It's very difficult for them during the middle of the day, even though it is on Friday. They have suggested several times that the City Council might want to reconsider holding maybe the first Wednesday of each month an evening meeting. Therefore, a lot of other people that are diligently working and paying their taxes and everything else could be able to attend and listen and take part in the City Council activities. So as a recommendation, I would like to have you consider possibly switching your day venue out to one evening venue in the Valley, and we'd greatly appreciate it. And again, I thank you very much for conducting City Hall business here in Van Nuys.
And I know in Mr. Reyes' district on July 19th, we will be having an evening meeting, so we welcome folks.
Thank you,
for
President
that.
Garcetti.
Thank you very much. Next we have, it says Big ZD, I assume this is Mr. Zumadog. Would you give us your full name as well?
Don't pretend like you don't know. Y'all is Zuma Dog. That's Z-U-M-A-D-O-double-G, because I'm twice the G you'll ever be. You feel me?
If you can hold us down for 1 second. And Mr. Labange?
Full name of the individual speaking?
Is that your legal name, sir?
Yeah, Zuma. It's yeah.
Jeffrey, what's your last name?
No, my name's Zuma Dog under the Brown Act.
No, what's Jeffrey? I
Okay.
think it's a...
Our city attorney told us under the Brown Act he's not required
Under the
to.
Brown Act, and you have security around here, Mr. City Attorney? You talk about that, Mr. City
I got metal detector searches, y'all. They
Hold on
searched
1
me with metal.
second. Hold on 1 second.
In the context of this meeting, the Brown Act
Your name doesn't
requires-
matter. Your name doesn't matter.
All that is required that he be identified for the orderly process of the meeting for getting through
But your
public
name
comment.
does not matter.
It's not required.
Thank you.
Regarding the security of the building, that's another issue.
Please continue.
Yeah, triumphant victorious number one. I didn't even start yet. I'm already triumphantly victorious as a public advocate. So everybody knows it's Zuma Dog, Z-U-M-A-D-O-double-G. I'm
Would
twice
you
the G.
please bring the volume out just a little bit? Thank you, Mr. Dodds.
How come everybody's trying to block me, y'all? Don't you see? I got an LA Times article right now. I've been coming to City Council. The LA Times picked up on my whole story, y'all. Public advocate, Zuma Dog waves. What does it say? And Zuma Dog wags tail in council's face, y'all. And now KCET picked up the article, y'all. So if you won't see about the bamboozlements and mistruths and unconstitutionalities that's taking place on Venice Beach, you got too many police down there doing unconstitutional things. Watch KCET on Wednesday. That's the kind of stuff you like to watch. It's PBS. They said, Zuma Dog, we saw your stories on the news, and now we're going to do an article. That's on Wednesday, y'all. KCET, Zuma Dog, public
Oh,
advocate.
thank you. That's your time.
And that's all
That's
you
your time.
know about Zuma Dog is Zuma
If you can please conclude. And if we can give a warning to all folks, please, that the volume is well, and pursuant to what we have said here, that if we can refrain from personal, impertinent, abusive, profane remarks, and also something in which is at that volume too. It is difficult to hear, and it's difficult to take in the public comment at that. Matthew Dowd is our next speaker. You did not, sir. Thank you. Matthew Dowd is our next speaker.
I hate to unleash the Zuma Dog on you, but every now and then we got to get someone to jump up and down and do something. See, help delayed for the elephant. The key word, delay. There's a delay going on right now in Venice Neighborhood Council. They're not listening to people who have, maybe 200 people trying to work, make a living down there on the beach. We got the Argonaut right now, that's the local Venice paper. none of the merchants, the store owners on Abbot Kinney, they don't want the Gap and Coffee Bean, Starbucks, all those people coming down because Venice has a character all of its own. We got the another article in the Argonaut here. Some street performers say they can't get proper spaces in City Lottery. The lottery, out of here. I mean, really, how do you tailor freedom? How do you tailor freedom? And that's meant to be a freedom of expression zone officially declared by the city.
Thank you, Mr. Dowd. Our
In
next speaker
God
is
we
Michael
trust
Hunt.
and
That's your
honor
time.
thy father and thy mother.
That's your time, sir. Thank you.
Not thy
Our
mother
next
and
speaker
thy
is
mother.
Michael Hunt.
Thank you.
And
hi,
after that
Wendy.
will be Sharon Brewer.
Wendy's on my hit list next.
Yeah, what's going on, you guys? Outlaws and featuring today at City Council. What's going on? I'm not yelling and screaming today. Hey, Mr. Whoever is to recognize, you guys need to get the First Amendment issues under order so that we don't have to come down here anymore. We are just waiting, patiently for you guys to get this all under order so that our First Amendment rights won't be violated. You guys know what the deal is. You guys know who we are. We've been here thousands and thousands of times, so, hey, we're just waiting on you guys to really get it together, I don't think I have to say any more than that. You can't violate people's civil rights or their First Amendment rights, just like we can't violate you guys, and we do have to respect that as a whole. So, I'm not here to make a whole bunch of noise today, but I give big up to Zuma Dog and the Outlaws, hootie hoo on everybody, and, hey, I'm praying and hoping that you guys get it together soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon Brewer is our next speaker. And then Bruce Darian.
Hi, my name is Sharon Brewer. I'll try not to talk too loud. I have a headache now anyway from before. I have some pictures. I'm here about Lake Balboa, as I've been here before. This is a brown pelican that we have at Lake Balboa. It's been here since the 1st of June. This is it flying. Sorry. This is, oops, where are we? This is another one where it's flying so it can take and look for fish. This is the June 30th. It's on the shore, and at this time it has fishing line around its right wing, and it can no longer fly. This is because of the fishing that's allowed to happen at Lake Balboa. This is the picture, and I don't know if you can see it, but the fishing line, is right down there. Pictures speak a 1,000 words. This is, I know,
Thank
this
you.
is
If
a
I can ask you to
picture.
conclude with this.
I know, I've been sitting, so hopefully they'll take care of this. This is 5 fishing poles with nobody there.
I'm sorry, just to stay consistent, I'm going to have to ask you to conclude. My apologies. I know you've been sitting for quite some
Thank
time.
you.
We appreciate your patience. And if you'd like to share that with any of the council members, we'd be happy. We can pass those around. Thank you. Bruce Darian is next.
Yes, President Garcetti, City Council, good afternoon. Last Friday, I spoke about the Challenger disaster 20 years ago and how it's relevant to the Malibu Pier and how that is in regard to the city's business. Councilmember Labange and the city attorney interrupted me last week as to it being relevant. I've come here before you saying that Mayor Reardon has illegal control with the Malibu Pier. The city presumably has taken no investigation, made no investigation to those allegations, and is saying that the city has nothing to do with it. Now the papers are writing that the discovery was to be launched despite the fact that there were known problems. This is to diffuse the fact that Challenger blew up when there were known problems with the seals, which is the False Claims Act, making a false certification. The False Claims Act also regulates the city's business, and you've exposed the fact that you have a $4 billion
Thank you, Mr.
construction
Darian.
budget.
Appreciate your comments today.
Okay.
Brendan Huffman
Thank
is
you.
our next speaker.
Good morning, council members. Brendan Huffman with the Valley Industry and Commerce Association. Just want to make a couple quick points and let you know what we've been working on at VICA the past month. 2 weeks ago, the VICA board unanimously endorsed the state infrastructure bond package. We feel this is very important. We're very excited to work with you between now and November to educate the voters about how these bonds are going to help our transportation, housing, education, and water infrastructure. Also wanted to mention, you might have noticed this in today's daily news, that SCAG yesterday voted to create a separate sub-region specifically for the San Fernando Valley, and we're very excited about that. VICA's been working on this for many years. This will allow, or actually facilitate, more consensus building in the valley about transportation and land use planning, and we're very, very excited. Lastly, just wanted to mention a couple things about the housing bond that we've communicated to many of you. Unfortunately, our board is not going to meet before the City Council takes this up, so I just want to express a couple concerns that have been raised by our members and our board. Assuming the bond moves forward, I'd like to see investment
Sorry,
in...
Mr. Huffman, just to stay consistent, your time is up. If you can conclude the sentence.
Smart growth, transit-oriented housing, and one last suggestion that was made was, like Measure Q, is to have a list of where these projects will be in the city so that voters know what we're going to be paying for.
Thank you, Mr. Huffman. Appreciate your understanding and patience today. Mark and Kim Smith.
Good morning, council members. My name is Kim Smith, and my husband Mark and our little assistants are on our way.
Good morning.
Yes. I just wanted to announce that we have a new committee called CPR, which is Community Pride and Restoration. That is began with the Van Nuys Neighborhood Council. And the project is starting actually tomorrow and next Saturday at the medium located near Van Owen and Van Nuys with beautification and cleanup. This community also supports, or committee also supports the Help Keep It Clean committee that I came out before about it, and it's also supported by Church on the Way, and which began last September. This is a great beginning, starting with cleaning our community to meeting the needs of our residents with their physical needs and spiritual needs. I know that we have your support during this journey. Thanks.
Thank you very much, all four of you. I would just remind, I've said this before, if we could have specific names, because we can't have organizations speak for public comment, so if there's somebody new who hasn't spoken who'd like to speak, but before that we have Christine Provencio, but that was just to give a heads up to the second card that's been submitted for Van Nuys Community Council, if there's another individual. Sorry? Oh, Court. If you give me an individual who'd like to speak, that would be great. Christine Provencio is our next speaker, though? Is Christine here? Okay. If not, is there and I know we heard from Jamie Cordaro before. Would you like to speak on this? Yes, but as an individual.
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Mr. President, council members. Candido Maris, Chairman of the Van Nuys Community Court, along with Mr. James Cordero. How many of you here know what the Van Nuys Community Court is all about? That's sad because we've been around since 2000. There are 29 community courts in the United States, and I know Ms. Gruhl knows about our court, but what it does is it deals with misdemeanor crime in your community. It has a big impact on crime. It's reduced crime in the Van Nuys area, and it's sad to see that we are struggling to keep our program going. The Manhattan program was the first one. I traveled back there a month ago to see it firsthand. It is unbelievable what it does. It works on, it deals with prostitution, children, gangs, everything, graffiti. Council members, it deals with crime within the community. Every one of you could have a community court within your system. We have 50,000 misdemeanors that individuals that are let go every year because they can't keep them in the jails. Can you imagine having 50,000 people in the streets working, cleaning the community up? The nonprofits are there to help you. They can handle the groups.
Thank you.
I want to give you a copy of this, so please, we're going to pass these out. Take a look at it. We'll come back next month and give you more information about the Van Nuys Community Court.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I will head back to City Hall. I know there's a fire alarm down there, so is there anybody who has left the City Hall for public comment? We're happy to take your public comment now if you just state your name and come forward to the microphone in City Council chambers there. Anybody else in City Hall who would like to give comment? Please just state your name for the record.
Laura Burns from the Link Place Tenants Association.
Thank you.
As Sheila Bernard told you, our president, you will next Wednesday be going into closed session on a settlement offer that we have made to you. We urge you to take that offer, to look at it very seriously. It is a way that will allow you to comply with the appellate court ruling, which is that conditions of approval of CEQA projects are not empty promises or mere expressions of hope. When you impose these conditions, you have a duty to enforce them. What the settlement offer is asking you to do is to revoke the stamps of approval that were made by the Housing Department when the eviction papers were filed with the city. Once again, this will be a way that you can not only step forward and show your determination that projects that you approve conditioned those conditions will actually be complied with, but it will also be a real help for the people from Lincoln Place.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mr. President, can I have one more minute? I was only given 1 minute. Can you please give me 1 minute?
I'm sorry, we're in City Hall right now, taking those comments. Okay, thank you, Mr. Green. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello. My name is David Ewing. I'm a resident of Venice, and I'm here to follow up on what Laura said about the settlement proposal in the Lincoln Place case. And I want to say, once that a settlement is made and entered, the city will no longer be a party to the case, and Lincoln Place Tenants Association will proceed with its lawsuit against Aimco for unfair business practices, since these were illegal evictions. The city will have taken a stand which puts the city squarely in compliance with the appellate ruling. This sends a message to other developers who would game the system by speculating in land use entitlements for projects they have no intention of building. And I think it's worth noting that the Lincoln Place Tenants Association is doing the heavy lifting here for something that's going to help the city a great deal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments. Next speaker.
Well, we're here once again. Once again, another day has passed by and we're still continuing on. And now that the South Central farmers are no longer farming at the South Central Farm, we are devoted completely to organize our community and have a presence here at every meeting you guys have, because our community is angry and we're fired up. We're ready. And you know what? What happened yesterday make us more determined to fight for this, because we are in the right. We're trying to feed our families. We're trying to have a safe space for them. And one of the things I'm grateful is that our community has been allowed to express themselves, even though some of you guys have not been paying attention to us, but the world knows what's going on. And you know what? You need to step up to the plate, because the people are watching. The people are listening. The people know about the South Central Farm and the injustice that has been made. And to Councilwoman Jan Perry, there's still time to ratify. You can still come out as a hero, and also for the mayor, step up to the plate and fight for your community and stand right down.
Next speaker, please.
My name is Xochitl Lujan. I want to first of all thank the first gentleman in the previous public comments for all his comments, what he said. He was right on point. Second of all, I want to thank Ms. Hahn, Ms. Gruhl, and Mr. Labange for at least trying to extend public comment, because most of the time the farmers come here. For the past 3 years, they've been coming every Friday. There's I don't know how many presentations. They sit there patiently and wait through hours of presentations just so they can come and speak during public comment. And I want to thank them for at least giving them the opportunity to continue to say what they have to say during public comments, because that's what public comments is for. That's what taxpayers pay for, public comments, so that council people can listen to the grievances that the public has and do something to remedy them. Today, the public has seen many of the youth of the 9th District speak about how they have been negatively affected by the unnecessary bulldozing of the South Central Farm. This will make this community grow stronger and be even more determined. They have only uprooted plants and trees. They have not destroyed the spirit of the people, and they will continue to save the South Central Farm. Council members, I suggest you do the same.
Next speaker, please.
My name is Kathy Masaoka. I'm a teacher at a school near South Central Farm. And I wanted to introduce our student who has been involved, and we are very proud of him as teachers of Michael Zitzen. And I just wanted to say that you honored a woman who went to camp and who made Manzanar a National Historic Place. And what I wanted to say is that you don't know about a guy named, 16-year-old guy named Ralph Lazo, who also supported Japanese Americans during World War II. To me, Mike has stood up for his principles, and I'd like him to talk about why he did that.
I supported the farm because what I saw there was just poor people being able to be self-reliant from the land, and I thought that was awesome. And there's no Whole Foods markets, any Trader Joe's around in South Central, and all they get from is like trashy, genetically engineered food, and that's like the only place they could go get organic food and like herbal remedies. So I stood up for that and whatever I could do.
Thank you.
Okay, one second. Mike is a pacifist.
I'm sorry. Sorry, if we can go to the next speaker, please.
Le cedo el tiempo al muchacho.
I would like to say.
I'm sorry, we can't hear the translation. Okay, please continue.
I was one of those arrested on Wednesday, and we had to act that day because no one in the city council would, and I'm hoping that they would give us support, because they didn't now, those for the arrested, and just backed us up now. And it was hard, because I was choked, slammed, kicked, just beaten by the police. I was chest stomped and all these things on Wednesday. It's kind of hard just remembering it and stuff, and just hoping that you guys will give us your support now. And I don't know, I'm still gonna stick with the farm and help it as much as I can. Hopefully we'll be able to do more places like that, Just.
Thank you.
Just last comment is that Mike is a pacifist, and our students are learning a lot of lessons about the city and about how the police work in this today.
Thank you. If we can have our next speaker, please.
Since the invasion and the destruction of the South Central farms by the bulldozers on Wednesday, we have received messages of solidarity from 20 cities across the world. It is a shame that the city council, despite the support we are receiving from across the world and from the local community, locally and nationally, that the only institution that has not responded positively to the appeal by the South Central farmers is the City Council of Los Angeles. The bigger shame of history is that we are dealing at a time that the mayor has declared that he wants to see a cleaner and greener LA with a promise to plant 1 million trees around Los Angeles in the next few months. And yet, you have watched the destruction of the South Central farms and the plants and the trees that are in that place. We came to you, Council President, a few days ago or about last week, asking that you should help us to protect additionally the religious artifacts and the sacred objects on that land. No action was taken by this.
Thank you. If we can have the next speaker, please.
Lydia Ponce, single mom from Venice, and we finally found the mayor because we've been looking for him for the last 2 days. In regards to safe places for our children to play, my daughter is happy to be on the ocean's floor in Venice, but when we found South Central Farm, I'd have to say that it was the second most beautiful place aside from the beach, but it became the first in my heart because every time I went there to volunteer, they offered us a plate of hot food. There are 60 community gardens in Los Angeles, and South Central Farm was the first of green destruction. Mayor and council people, stand with the farmers and help them recover their private property losses. Do what is right. Make sure that you also place on your long list of jobs the Lincoln Place Apartments, Oceanfront Walk. South Central Farm is next Wednesday. Do what is right. Do what is in your heart. Vote with your conscience and your soul, not with the cash dollar value for Horowitz. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
My name is Ahmad Jamal, and I'd just like to say, he who seeks happiness by hurting those who seek happiness will never find happiness. I would like to concede my time to Dele.
To quickly complete our thoughts, the world is watching what is happening to South Central farms. You are not going to be able to escape the judgment of history, particularly Councilwoman Jan Perry. You have destroyed, you have watched the destruction of the source of livelihood of 350 families and thousands of their supporters. The day of reckoning is coming. The South Central farmers and their supporters are not going to surrender. We are not going to withdraw. Rather, we shall continue with the forward march of history like Dr. King, like Rosa Parks, and Cesar Chavez would have done. You are not going to destroy our hope and our enthusiasm.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning to the council and to the people of the city of Los Angeles. My name is Jeremy Roth-Gushel, and I'm on the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council. But to this morning, I speak on behalf of myself, the farmers of South Central LA, and the future of our little pueblo here. And I think that it's very important to make honor of this date. This is an anniversary of a terrorist attack in London. And while we have much bigger fish to fry, and that the criminals who perpetrated an attack against our own citizens still remain at large, I think it's silly that we are engaged in infighting and immature destruction, wanton destruction of beautiful labor of 14 years. And I would want our council to read a little packet written by Thomas Paine, who, even though was British born, has a lot to comment about America. It's called Agrarian Justice, and it speaks to the ideas of the commons. This is not about the destruction of private property. It's about understanding that the private is a part of a larger piece.
Thank you, sir.
It's part of our duty to the environment, to the future.
I can ask you to
It's
conclude,
not a
please.
problem of money. It's a problem of political will and effective communication.
Thank you. Our
So
next
let's
speaker,
do it.
please. We'll have two more speakers, and then our half hour is up. Last two speakers. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Juan Ramirez, and I'm going to give my time to Dele.
Hello. Please live long always. I would like to say that I'm really sad that,
I'm sorry, could you give us your name, ma'am?
hi, thank you, Tanzan Dunzang.
Thank you.
I'm really sad that I was not given I asked permission to be able to go and say prayers for all the kind beings that were going to be killed. So I'm very sad for this. Certainly, I hope that this may be heard, a little request. Thanks.
The religious community of Los Angeles, from Buddhists and all faiths, the Jewish community, the African American clergy, we have had visitors from all these sectors. It is unconscionable, it is inexplicable that only members of the Los Angeles City Council, they are hiding under the rubric of law and refusing to act properly in this matter that is of grave concern to our community and the rest of humanity. The world is watching you. The day of judgment is coming, but the day of victory is coming for the South Central farmers.
Thank you. We have 28 seconds left.
My name is Anna. I'd like to say, why is it that we're killing all these beautiful places in the world, but yet when you guys get money to go on vacation, where do you look for? A beautiful place in the world to go and rest and have peace. So why are we taking them out slowly? So pretty soon, well, we're supposed to eat money and concrete. It ain't gonna be nothing else for us to grow real food. And I like to say, you guys are proving to us that you do not care about life and existence of life. And if you don't care about life, that means you don't care about yourself. And how are we supposed to have faith in leaders that don't even care about themselves? So that's what I like to say. And also I like to say to the council members or whoever, everybody who has a little power to do something, that you guys might as well sling rocks because you'd rather feed us poison than let us grow our own crops.
That's our last speaker. That finishes our half hour of additional public testimony on top of the 27 minutes we had before. So that's 57 minutes today. Thank you all very much, colleagues. Are there any announcements today? Mr. Labange?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, tonight is Art Night Out in the Miracle Mile. Go to any one of the galleries in the Miracle Mile in the Wilshire area.
There'll be 2 double-decker buses to take people around the many, many, many art galleries at the Miracle Mile for a wonderful summer evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Any other announcements, colleagues? Announcements? Mr. Weezer?
Mr. President, I want to announce that on Sunday, please join CD14, the National Council of La Raza, for the 2006 NCLR Diabetes Dash in downtown Los Angeles. This is a 5K run or walk to raise awareness about a disease that is making such an impact on the lives of Latino families and all of us, and in highlighting some of the things we can do to combat diabetes and promote early detection in our communities. It will kick off the 2006 NCLR conference, which is being held here in Los Angeles this year, Sunday, July 9th at 7 a.m. Meet up at Hill and 2nd Streets downtown. I also want to announce that on Monday we'll be breaking ground on a fabulous new state-of-the-art child care center at Evergreen Park. I'll be joined by parents and community members as we mark this exciting occasion. It's Monday, July 10th at 9 a.m. at Evergreen Park on 4th and Evergreen. I'm really excited about this because for some time now, this is a park where actually I spent a lot of time as a young kid, and we had this open space with concrete waiting for this center to come in. And finally, thanks to the work of the City Council and the city, we're delivering the funds that are moving this project forward. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Any other announcements? Are there any adjourning motions today, colleagues? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Cardenas, Gruel, Han,
Where's your
Ruiz,
car, Eva?
Labange, Padilla, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Weston, Zanger City.
Thank you. We will next be meeting colleagues back in City Hall this coming Tuesday, which is the 11th of July. We welcome folks then, and this meeting is adjourned. Have a great weekend.